The King MisuZulu kaZwelithini was due to give an address to the nation, but he was delayed because his drivers couldn't find fuel for him. So he as well is being affected by the current looting and disruption that's taking place in the country. For more on this, let's cross to my colleague Ayanda Mhlongo. Ayanda, over to you.
A very good afternoon to Nompu, good afternoon to our viewers at home. Yes, a very important address that we are waiting by King MisuZulu kaZwelithini, who is going to be speaking about this current situation in KwaZulu-Natal and particularly Gauteng with the looting and the public violence. But as you said, Nompu, that press briefing by His Majesty the King was supposed to have started at 2 p.m. and we understand that he too has had some challenges. As you know, many people now in the country are experiencing petrol shortages due as well as being unable to get around due to the road closures and the blockages on some of the main roads. So we understand that like many South Africans who are struggling today, be it to move around or to fill up their vehicles, that the King is also being placed in the same predicament. But an important address, as I was saying today, it's going to be the first time that King MisuZulu kaZwelithini is going to be addressing subjects and speaking to South Africans to call for calm and to call for peace. This, of course, is due to the ongoing crisis now facing the province of KwaZulu-Natal as more and more, well, and Gauteng as well, as more and more shops, companies, are being destroyed by these looters that have gone on an absolute rampage. In Durban, my colleagues of Khumalo has been reporting that as of this morning as well, we've seen more and more factories and other stores that have not been touched, that the looters are now have started looting those stores and burning those factories as well. If you just look around, driving around Durban, it looks like an absolute war zone. Really, really shocking scene. If you're traveling around the city of Durban, and these looters are just continuing brazenly to destroy these properties. So it's going to be interesting what His Majesty is going to be saying, and of course whether or not it's going to have any impact on the subjects. We know that previously with the late King KwaZulu-Natal, at times when there were situations of conflict and tensions in the province, he was that voice of reason. The late King's father would at times, during violence in the province of KwaZulu-Natal dating way back to the 80s and the early 90s, it was the late King who were partly working with the political parties who was able to work with them to find peace and bring order to the province of KwaZulu-Natal. We again, during the xenophobic violence around 2016, we saw the late King as well call an imbizo and call the people of KwaZulu-Natal to order and restore, and through his address and speaking to the people to seize the violence, we saw things calming down. So again, it's going to be interesting to hear what the King is going to be saying and whether or not he is going to make any difference. But as you know, that a lot of the discussions around this violence, some people have already attributed or said that it's linked to its ethnic mobilization. In fact, this was something that even the President, Cyril Ramaphosa, during his address to the nation, he also spoke about concerns that this was mobilization along ethnic lines. And with that, when he speaks of that, a lot of people then say it's linked to AmaZulu. And so today, the AmaZulu King is going to be speaking to his subjects to call for calm and peace.
We certainly do hope that his voice will be an influential one, but why do you think he's felt the need to speak now, more so because it spread to Gauteng? So the whole notion of it being ethnic mobilization kind of falls out of the window, because I'm sure it's not just Zulu people who are going out on the rampage. So why do you think he's decided to still speak in this situation?
Well, certainly. I mean, at this point, I'm just presuming here, Nompu, that he would have probably wanted to allow the government to deal with the situation. And as from the political party, the African National Congress, to the government, both the province of KwaZulu-Natal and nationally, to try and get a grip on the situation, to speak to the public, to call for calm. But we've seen that the calls by the government, the warnings by government leaders have fallen on deaf ears. And this violence and this destruction of property is continuing. And so it's probably he's realizing now that it's a time for him as well to add his voice, as you're saying, that influential voice. And hopefully people are going to be able to listen to him, at least to join this number of people who are now standing up and speaking out against this violence. Nompu?
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you very much, Ayanda, for your time there. Ayanda Mhlongo reporting from KZN for us.